Hey everyone, it's Arfan, and I am back with another expert interview with the Successfully Generated Coaches Show. And I have a very, very special guest with me today because I've had a lot of guests talk about different areas in business, such as your wealth, your health, your finances. But I have not had someone actually come on the show to talk about finances. So I have Suzanne Roynon here with me. And I would love to just turn it over to you. Can you give us a little introduction of yourself and how you got into Feng Shui for your workplace?
For sure. So Feng Shui and I have been friends for over 35 years now, which is shocking when I think about it. Obviously, I was nothing but a mere stripling back then. But Feng Shui happened for me because we moved into a new house and everything went horribly wrong.
Hmm.
And so from then on, I was interested about how the energy of the home worked with the people in it, and how
Mm-hmm.
some homes can feel really, really lucky, while others, it's just awful from the time you move in until the time you move out, possibly with the remnants of a relationship or bankruptcy hanging over you. So I just,
Mm-hmm.
I found out about feng shui. I realized that it was making an absolute difference to my life. And so
Yeah.
I trained in two methods of feng shui, and now it is my life, and I absolutely love it.
Wow. I didn't realize there was different types of feng shui or different methods of feng shui. I've always known it to be just feng shui is really just in my mind and what I've heard before, it's really just how you position the layout of your house to allow for energy to flow. So can you maybe give
Yeah.
everyone, including myself, some education on the different types of feng shui and what that really truly is?
Okay, so feng shui is, yes, it's about the way the energy flows through your house, but it's definitely not as simple as where you put your couch.
Mhm.
Um, there are two main methods of feng shui. There's the DIY version, which
Mhm.
is to use the front door of your home, and the back left is about money, and the back right is about relationships, and the bit by the front door is about your career.
Mhm.
Now, as I say, that's DIY. That materialized in the US in the early 1980s because the Chinese masters who brought feng shui to the US, the late 70s,
Mhm.
they realized that people simply couldn't cope with compass directions at that point. We didn't, all of us, have a compass on our smartphone back
Yeah,
then the way we
it's
do
true.
now. Now, the thing about the DIY version is you can use intention with it, but that's really what it boils down to, is that's what it is. You're intending that things will get better,
Mm.
and it's focusing your mind. Now, traditional feng shui, which uses the compass directions, well, I mean, it was like blowing the doors off everything I understood when I used traditional feng shui in my home after
Really?
years of doing Western feng shui. And I suddenly realized that I'd just been, I might as well have been wandering around under a blanket, because it was like the sun came out, money started flying in. It was just incredible. And I'm like, why didn't I understand this before? Why didn't I realize before?
Yeah.
And so now when I'm working with my clients, I only ever use traditional flying stars feng shui, because it's
Mm.
so accurate. I can look at the numbers for a house, and I say the numbers, that's part of the diagnostic process. And I'll know if somebody's had suicidal ideation there, or if they've got
Mm.
a particularly brilliant money area. I'll know if there's a risk of gun violence, all kinds of things like that.
Wow.
And I
It's
can look at
incredible.
their house and remedy it and then support them through it. So for me, it's just absolutely epic and I love it.
That's amazing. And we were just having a little talk before we started recording. You were telling me that there was actually four, can you recommend me like there's
Yeah, the
four
house
types of
types.
house
Yeah.
types? Yeah.
So all houses will fall into one of these. So if you just listen in and just see which one you think yours is. So house
Hmm.
type number one is good for people and it's good for money. And this is your archetypal lucky house. It's the one that everybody wants to live in. It's probably the place where the lottery winner lives. They've always got the new cars, the holidays, and everything. The relationships are sound, the money flows. It's just like, yes, let's live here.
Mhm.
House type number 2 is good for money, but it's bad for people. So
Mm.
this is where you're going to get the divorces, often the high net worth divorces, or the long-term sickness, the stress with the kids, just all of those people issues, strain with the in-laws, all of those things. But the money is always there to throw at whatever problem comes up.
Mm.
So that's number 2. House type number 3 is good for people, but it's bad for money. So people
Mm.
tend to be happy and healthy here. Life goes on, get on with things, but there's always too much month at the end of the money. And
Mm.
even if they're in a job where they get massive bonuses, those bonuses will get, the car will break down, or you'll need a new washing machine, or something will happen to just evaporate the money that's come in. The final house type, which is really tough to live in, I know this from personal experience, is bad for people and it's bad for money.
Mm.
And this is like living in quicksand. And actually, I'm now super grateful for the apartment that I lived in that had that bad for people and money energy, because that's when I thought, my Western feng shui is not working. Why is it not working? I can do this for everybody else, but it's not working for me. So I went to a traditional practitioner and I got a report done. And she's just like, yeah, this is what's going on. Let's put these remedies in. And no kidding, Arpon, the last remedy went in, and 2 days later I got a check for £38,000, which would be
Whoa,
about $50,000.
that's massive.
And
Yeah,
it was
that's
just like
massive.
out of the blue. And so yeah, I was sold then. That's me. Traditional feng shui all the way from then on. So those are the house types. I mean, which would you say that you most gravitate to out of those 4?
Well, I'm fortunate to say the very first one. Definitely,
Wonderful. Gosh,
yeah,
what a
when
treat.
yeah, and my wife has been very intentional about feng shuiing our home, especially if there feels like there's something going on. She's quick to we do bust out the the compass. So
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I'm
very
super
wise.
excited about this. But for those who don't know, and you're listening right now, and you're probably nodding when Suzanne was really telling us about the different types. So if you're in any of those categories, if you're in the first one, like, so this will be an enlightening conversation, because there may be even an individual space. Correct me if I'm wrong, there may be an individual space where the whole house could feel amazing, but there might be an individual space where it could be an office or something like that, to where that area there in particular may not, like, you may feel uncomfortable or
Just
may
needs a
not
little more
feel.
help. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
the fact is, somebody like Oprah Winfrey or George Clooney, they don't
Mm-hmm.
do feng shui because the money's not coming in. They do it because they know it makes the whole place more successful for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see in the most successful people that the odds are they're using feng shui. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, Coca-Cola,
Mm-hmm.
HSBC, they're all using feng shui.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like the fact that you said that when you were breaking down the different home types, you didn't say it was all about money. You mentioned it was
No.
good for people, and when we bring
Mm.
people into the equation, something that's good for people is very broad. And the thing is, as long as it's good, right? So we're really talking about creating a healthy, successful, productive, and focused environment for work, and also for the entire home, for our children, or relatives that may be living with us, things like that. So I really,
Hmm.
really love what we're chatting about here. So let's dive in a little bit into this, right? So for someone listening right now who may be feeling like they their area needs work, and let's just talk about maybe their home workspaces. A lot of us right now, since the pandemic came, have have a section at home where before we never did. We never needed to work at home, so we never thought about having an actual workspace. But they're starting to feel like a little bit down, maybe feeling like just uncomfortable in their work or in a home space. What can they start doing right now to turn that around?
Okay, so let's start. Always, if you have a cluttered workspace, if you're working surrounded by stuff that you don't use, need, or love in
Hmm.
your home or in an office, for the sake of argument, if you're just mucked up with other stuff that isn't relevant to what you're doing, that is going to create a problem for you. So streamline the space you're in. even if you're working in a tiny space in your bedroom, make sure that that space is clear and it is focused on your work, and that
Mm,
at the end of the day, you can put your work stuff away. Now, most of us will work on a laptop. If you can work on a laptop, you can shut it down, put it away in a box, tucked under your
mm-hmm,
desk, and then it's not interfering in your bedroom life. But let's just say we're blessed enough that we have a dedicated room for our workspace. Now, I'm looking at where you're sitting off on, and you're sitting with your back to the wall. That
mm-hmm.
is the strongest position you can be in. And you'll see, I've
Okay.
also got my back to the wall. This is great for a number of reasons. The first thing is that the wall is giving you strength. It's supporting your back and your shoulders. You've got a decent chair, also really,
Mhm,
really important. Now, the next thing to consider is, where is the door? So for me, my door's over here. So the moment that door opens, I know that somebody's coming into my space.
mhm,
Now, can you imagine what it would be like if the door was actually behind me?
mm,
And I'm sitting here, I'm focused, I'm working on a report, something like that. The door opens very quietly behind me, and suddenly somebody's there.
mhm.
Now
It's a
that,
different energy.
yeah, makes you feel so vulnerable. And, one of the things that people always say to me is like, oh, work creeps up on me. And, I don't anticipate it. It's just suddenly there. And that's
Mm,
exactly what's going on. So if you've got your back to the door, you're you're feeling insecure, uncomfortable, very vulnerable, and work will creep up on you unnoticed.
wow.
But if you can just turn your desk by 90 degrees, just so that you can see the door, that
Mhm,
takes some of the pressure off. And if that's really impossible, and this is, if somebody's set up an office at home and they've had it all built in, and
mhm,
actually their desk is at a wall, that is really, really hard to deal with. But you can take a mirror, something like this, and then you angle it so it
mm.
reflects the door. So
Oh,
even if
wow.
you're sitting and the wall is literally on the other side of your screen, you can angle a mirror, and you're not looking at yourself in it, but what you're seeing is the reflection of the door. And as soon as that opens, you will then be aware of somebody coming in, and it will change the dynamic for your work.
Mm.
So that's a really easy, simple thing to do if there is no way you can have your door visible to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's just from a perspective of like, everyone has that, our brains are programmed for survivor, to survive in all situations. And if there is potential of not even staying anywhere in harm or anything like that, but just, anytime there's something that could be like say anything loud, we're gonna get distracted for a number of reasons.
Mm.
We'll know, like, okay, what is that? Is there danger? Do I have to go and evacuate or something like that? So to have a
Yeah,
door
you
behind
don't want
you,
to be jumpy ever when you're
exactly.
you're trying to do your work, because it makes you unproductive.
Hmm.
And I'm guessing that the setup you have there, and obviously I can't see the whole space you're in. I don't know whether you're in, one corner of a much bigger room, and I'm in the corner of a big room.
Hmm.
Um, but this means that I am in what's called a command position. So I can see the
Hmm.
door. I've got my back to the wall. I've got my super chair. I've got my lovely solid desk. Do please try to avoid a wobbly desk. Don't work on your knee. It's terribly bad for you. Always get yourself an ergonomic chair. Your back, your head, and shoulders will thank you for it. Not
Mm,
just now, but in 20 years' time as well. And you're,
absolutely.
yeah, you're sitting in this command position. And if you're in control of your space, you can be in control of what comes across your desk.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, it definitely with the ergonomic chair, I can attest for that because I even have a little pillow here if I need to just back, but it does make a big difference. I've had those regular cheap office chairs, and a few hours in, and my back start hurt, my neck start hurt. This I could sit in this for extended amount of time would be good. So I
Yeah.
really love that, especially the analogy of like if you're feeling like work is creeping up on you and you are in that position to where there's a door behind you and you're facing a wall, and you don't have, like, like you said, the support behind me. And I do have that. So there's a wall behind me, my door's over
Hmm.
here, there's a window over here. And it's just one closed room. There's nothing else going on. And it feels pretty good. So that's if you're listening right now and you're just kind of thinking about your environment, just on these little tips right now, start thinking about what you could do a little bit differently. I think one of the things I come across to as I talk to people, and prior to running my advertising agency, my marketing agency, I was helping people with their performance and their productivity. And one thing that comes up a lot is just feeling unfocused, or just really having a difficult time concentrating. Um, what are some, is that related to feng shui? Is there some things that we can be looking for or
Yeah,
kind of watch out
partially it
for?
is. Partially it is. And that distraction, I said right at the top of the show about clutter. And
Mm-hmm.
if you are in a cluttered environment, you will find it so difficult to focus. Your
Mm-hmm.
concentration will be shot because everywhere around you is chaos. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by chaos, you take so much more physical and emotional concentration just to do the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get to the stage where you're in a space, now I'm looking at yours, you've got that lovely, neat shelf beside you, you've got what you need, but you haven't got it piled up in bits and pieces and, a
Mm-hmm.
horrible mess all around you. Now, if you think about when you're doing a Zoom call and you're looking at somebody on that call and behind them is just mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first and foremost, do you concentrate on what they're saying?
Well,
Because
it's
I'm looking at it
distracting.
thinking, what the heck is going on in your life that it's okay for you to live like this? Because it isn't just affecting their work life, it's affecting everything else. It's going to be affecting their relationship, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be affecting their self-esteem, their health, their well-being, the way they communicate and respond to people.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on which feng shui area they happen to be sitting in their home, and
Mm-hmm.
we've got 9 feng shui areas, but say for the sake of argument that they're sitting in their wealth area surrounded by dross and detritus, well, that's going to impact their wealth as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So always, if you need, well, of course we all need to concentrate when we're working, don't we? So make sure that at the beginning of the day your desk is clear. I love to just give my desk a clean first thing each morning, because it's just like, right, okay, I'm refreshing my space for the day. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to do it, that's just my way of doing it.
Yeah.
um, Set yourself up so it feels good, that you've got the space to work, but that you haven't got anything unnecessary or surplus on your desk.
Mm.
So, if you've got 2 phones, you've got your personal phone and your work phone, well, let's only have your work phone there.
Yeah,
Even
if you're
if your
working.
personal phone is, you need to have it in the same room, put it out of your way so that you're just focused on your work. Make sure that you have everything that you need, but don't line up a load of empty mugs, once you've finished your coffee. Let's not do that. Let's take the coffee mug out so that you are focused on a clean, clear environment.
Mm-hmm.
Tidy desk, tidy mind. We've all heard that statement, and it really counts. And you know
Mm.
what? There are people I work with who are neurodivergent, and they've said to me, oh, I can't keep it tidy. I can't keep it tidy. But I've shown them strategies to keep it
Mm-hmm.
tidy. And I'll get a message 3 years later with a photograph and saying, still like this. Thank you so much. It
Wow.
is possible, and
Mm.
it will help. And you will be able to gather your thoughts and point them in a productive direction instead of looking at the pile over there and thinking, oh no, I should have organized the insurance. That's
Mm-hmm.
that letter at the top of that stack. And oh, that piece of kit is broken. I need to take that to the repair store. And oh, that pile over there needs to go to Goodwill. So deal with it. Stop
Yeah.
procrastinating. Clutter is visible procrastination. It's visible, physical evidence of you not dealing with your stuff.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's. I'm glad you mentioned about the neurodivergency, because I know there are those who we all function a little bit differently, and as long as you have the right strategy in place, you can make it happen. Because I always think back of I forgot where I heard it, but it was like one of those things. It's a common trait amongst people who are quote unquote geniuses, to where they, Albert Einstein is one of the examples that they often use. It was like kind of like a mad genius in the sense where
Mm,
there was things all over, there's papers and all that stuff all over the place, but nonetheless, brilliant mind. But there was the clutter. There was a tremendous amount of
yeah.
clutter
A
everywhere.
brilliant mind who couldn't find what he needed at the right moment. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, if we come up with strategies to manage things differently, if this piece of paper relates to that project, well, let's put that there, and that is something that is easily managed. And this is, I mean, I love working with my neurodivergent clients because they push me the whole time to make things better for them.
Mm.
And yes, it is a challenge because I'm not neurodivergent. So I have to learn to think differently about the ways that I can most effectively bring efficiency into their lives without them
Yeah.
feeling that their thought process is totally scrambled. But
Yeah.
we can do it. We just have to work at a different pace and come at it from a different angle. And actually,
Mm.
we know I was saying earlier about the aspect of having your desk right against a wall. So you're looking at a wall when, beyond your screen, there is the wall. It
Mm.
really limits your perspective and it can
Mm.
make you feel trapped and claustrophobic. And if, God forbid, you've also got shelves above your head, that's going to press down, that's going to cause pressure on your shoulders and your head. You're going to really probably get headaches,
Mm.
migraines, backache, neck pain
Interesting.
because of this downward pressure on you.
That's
So the
so
more
interesting.
you can pull yourself into the room and have that strength and that command position and the organization around you, the happier you will feel with your job and you will feel more in control of yourself as well.
Gotcha. I love that. And that you mentioned that there were nine feng shui areas in a home. And I know we
Mhm.
probably don't have time to get into all nine of them, but someone listening right now, I think you get some pretty good tangible things that I think could be implemented pretty quickly. But out of the nine, could you like give us the nine areas like really quick, and then we could probably talk
Sure.
about one or two of them?
All
Or
right. Well, you grab out the areas that you want. So the north is about your career. The
Mhm.
northeast is about knowledge and learning and spirituality. The east is about family and the past. The southeast is about wealth and abundance.
Mm.
The south is fame and reputation. Southwest, your romantic relationship and your relationship with yourself. The west is about new opportunities, new beginnings, and children and projects. The northwest, my favorite, travel and helpful friends.
Mm.
So yeah, those are the ones. Now, of those, I would say from a work perspective, the north, your career area, and this is
Mhm.
the north of your home. Take your compass on your smartphone, stand in the center of your home, and look to see where the north is. Go and look there. See what's going on. If your career has stalled, there will be stuff there that you don't need, that is perhaps
Mm.
broken, it's clutter, it's stuff from previous relationships, things that you've outgrown maybe. Perhaps
Mhm.
it's your wardrobe and it's full of things that you no longer wear. But
That's
yeah,
interesting.
that's your career area. So
Mhm.
spruce it up. If you want to feel good about your career, spruce that place up. If you want to get the recognition and be noticed and respected for what you do, sort out the south.
Mhm.
Do you
I
want a
think you
fresh start? Do it in the west.
Yeah, you actually spoke on the ones I was actually gonna just call out, not in any particular order, but I love that the whole thing of just go to the area, and if you're feeling a certain way, you're most likely gonna see in that area a reflection of what you're feeling. So
You
um,
really, really will. Yeah.
that is
And I can
awesome.
tell you, our kitchen is in our travel and helpful friends area. And we have
Mm,
an absolute moratorium. There is never anything left out on the surfaces. If something's dirty, it goes straight in the dishwasher. When the
mm,
dishwasher is clean, everything's put away straight away. And what we find is if we have guests and they're not so good at putting, stuff in the washer or whatever, then we start to have hiccups with things.
Mm,
But as it stands at the moment, we get to, we travel all over. I travel to America for work.
mm-hmm,
I am paid to fly to the States to work in person in people's homes on their feng shui and their interior therapy,
mm-hmm.
because they know the difference it makes to them,
Yeah,
you know?
the cool thing I hear is that basically the 9 areas are reflective of the compass, north, northwest, northeast, things
Yeah,
like that. And that's different for everybody because everyone's home is built different on their plot of land. So, or
exactly.
your apartment or something like that is built differently. So, standing in the center and looking and finding your true north and really identifying those areas. I'm assuming that stayed the same as someone has 2 or 3 floors. It's just each
Yeah, on
floor.
the same on every floor, the same on every floor. And the center of your home relates to your health and well-being. So that's another place that's really important. If this is where you keep your trash or your dirty laundry,
Mm-hmm.
do the laundry, take the trash out, don't keep it in your house.
Mm.
Um, don't keep a bowl of fruit that's gone brown in that area. All of this is reflecting on your well-being.
Yeah,
So
move it away.
the tighter you keep the whole house, the better you will feel in every
Mm,
part of your life. And it
that's super
really does
interesting.
make the most enormous difference.
That's super interesting. Well, I love this conversation so far. I wish we had more time to just dive into so much more because there is. But I think you gave everyone just some really awesome things. For those who listen, they want to get a hold of you or potentially work with you. How can they, what's the process for someone to actually work with you or be able to even contact you?
For sure. So what I always do is I'll have a video walk around with a prospective client. So they can go to my website at interiorsTherapy.com and click
Mm-hmm.
on the button that says book a taster call. That takes you to my schedule. And there are different times in the week, depending on whether you're in Australia or America or wherever. Book yourself that 30-minute session with me and show me around your house. I will spot things straight away. I can often tell you what's going on in your home that you haven't even admitted to yourself.
Mm.
And then I can give you guidance on whether you're ready for feng shui, or perhaps you need a little bit of support to manage your clutter or your sentimental items or whatever. And then we take it from there. And sometimes, as I said, people do ask me to fly to the States and work with them. So if you're thinking already, right, I need this lady in, I'm going to be in the States, available from the 10th of November to the 23rd. So you can
Oh,
book
nice.
to work with me, and I'll just jump on a flight and come and be there and make some magic.
There we go. And that is 2024, in case you're listening to this, and it's a
It is
2025.
2024, yes.
So yeah, that'll be November in 2024. So
Yeah.
Suzanne, I loved having you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. Like I said, I wish we could have more time to really dive a lot more into this, but I think it's been extremely valuable. And I've, firsthand have seen the difference that it makes in just having even if you're not using the word feng shui, but just having a clear environment, positioning my desk in a certain way. And I recently had was it probably a month now changed to where my door was not directly behind me, was to the left of me, and I was working, and I can already see the difference of being so much more focused in everything that I do as I
Yeah, it's
switch
so
to
good
this
to
new
see it
office. Yeah.
firsthand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So again, thank you so much for everyone listening. Don't forget, it's interiorsTherapy.com. You can book that session with Suzanne, and you can be able to do that video walkthrough. And if you need more hands-on, if you're like, you know what, hey, my home needs some attention now. I really want to have a space that feels a very high vibration. There's a lot of light, joy, peace, and a type one home, so to say, where there is good for people and good for money at the same time. And you're feeling focused, you're feeling appreciated, you're feeling like you're getting work done. This is the person to contact, and interiorsTherapy.com. Is there any social media that you on that maybe we can also follow you
Yeah.
to kind of
You'll
continue?
you'll find me on Instagram at interiors_therapy and on Facebook at interiors therapy.
Gotcha.
So,
And
but
before,
if you search for Suzanne Roynon, I just pop up everywhere, really.
oh, perfect. Excellent. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you, is there one piece of advice you have for someone who is newly in a space where they're working from home, they're trying to get things figured out? What would be one piece of advice you have for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Move heaven and earth to get your desk into the command position so that you've got your back to a wall and you can see
Mhm.
the door clearly, and you will thank me for it.
Awesome. Love that so much. Again, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Arfon with a Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. Don't forget to share this video with someone you think might be helpful. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, and I will see you on the next video. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.